The Korean Folk Village is an international tourist attraction where you can experience the past and present Korea at the same time. Hello, nice to meet you. Welcome to Korean Folk Village. What a nice day. Let me introduce myself to you. I am Misu Baek. Feel free to call me Misu. And Mermaid. My nickname is Mermaid. I'm Korean culture tour guide and volunteer, so I usually speak in Korean. I just want to know Korea in other countries, so I visited Korean folk village to know Korea costume and culture. I am so sorry I am not good pronunciation, although I can speak fluently. I do my best. Excuse me, have you ever seen this before? We call it 정사초롱 in Korean. It's kind of a Korean traditional lamp, which is hanging from the tree like that, and this appears often when we introduce Korea. It is a symbol of a big event. 정사초롱 means that welcome to Korea and welcome to my house. Now, I will introduce the Korean folk village briefly. The Korean folk village, which was opened in 1974 and is set in a natural environment and occupies approximately 243 acres. You may think it is 20 times bigger than a football stadium. It's the home of the true Korean heritage, where many pieces of Korean culture have been collected from all of the country and preserved here for future generations. In the Korean folk village, where the customs and lifestyle of past generations of Korea have been faithfully maintained without impairment, and you can experience the various lifestyle of Joseon dynasty. In fact, Korean folk village has 260 traditional houses. However, I can't show you all of them, so I lead you to the special places. Today, I will show you folk villages. Okay, I hope you enjoy the beauty of nature in the Korean folk village. Now, I'm off to that folk village. Excuse me, I have a question. What is at the entrance of the village? Think about it. Wait a minute. Now, we are at the village sanctuary. This place is a shrine of tutor dairy. All the people of the village come together, prepare the food, and perform the ritual service in early January. There are many religious objects, village shrine, stone altar, and a monolith at the entrance of the village. The function of these are prevent bad spirit and epidemics from outside. This is a village shrine where a painting of a famous general is placed who saved the country from the national crisis. Look closer. It's kind of shamanism. This is a stone altar. A long time ago, people used to invoke a blessing to the stone altar. They wrote down their wishes on a sheet of paper and tied it to the straw rope. Then, their wishes came true. Believe it or not, it's kind of shamanism. Shamanism is a primitive religion in Korea. That is man here or monolith. It symbolized the man and lots of babies. It was worshipped for fertility by villagers. The menhir is one of the megalithic culture with the dolmen and Stonehenge. And menhir was built the Bronze Age. Therefore, Korea has a long history, about 5,000 years, you know. Next, let's go see hanbok. Hanbok is Korean traditional dress. It's very beautiful. I'm very hungry. Let's get something to eat. Oh, it's time to say goodbye. Today, we looked around Korean folk village. How about you? I'm happy to guide you. See you next time. Enjoy your day. Goodbye. Hello, how are you? I'm Misu. Welcome to Korean folk village. What a nice day. How did you spend last week? It was good. Okay. Today, I will show you totem pole, beautiful sun's monument, and the millstone. Let's get started. Now, I'm standing in front of the inner three gate. From now on, we'll have a time travel. To do so, first you need to pass through this inner three passage gate. Joseon Dynasty had reached the hierarchy system that only noblemen could pass through the main gate and commoners could go in and out of the two small side doors. Excuse me, which gate would you like to enter? Please choose. This place is a typical form of a Korean village in 19th century. My ancestors lived in this culture and the surroundings about 150 years ago. Almost all Korean folk village buildings were originally came from all of the Korean peninsula. It's possible to disassemble and assemble like a Lego. You know Lego? Yes, that's interaction. People didn't use the nail, so one is relocation and the other is reproduction. Now, we were warmly welcomed by Jangseung. He's kind of a village god too. You should think divine pole or marks as the border with the neighboring village. Jangseung were erected at the entrance of village, Buddhist temple, and by roadside. It served as a landmark, guardian angels, and the milestone of the village. As well as it prevents illness and natural disaster from outside. The face was scary, and the middle of the sculpture was caved. Great General on the sky for male totem pole, and Great General on the earth for female totem pole. In a word, people can wish for the peace and the stability of the town to Jangseung. Look at that! It's a Dutiful Son's monument. A Dutiful Son's monument is a gate granted by the state to a person who is exceptionally devoted and filial piety to his parents. It was mostly built on a street corner or a town entrance where people would often pass by to spread the filial piety widely. The name of a Dutiful Son's monument I'm trying to explain. Now, 101 moon, meaning that filial duty is the source of all human life. Once upon a time, the main character of the Dutiful Son's monument is Dutiful Son Deok-gyu Lee, who lived in later Joseon Dynasty. He lost his dad when he was young and was brought up by his widowed mother, and one day, when his mother became very ill, Lee broke ice in the middle of winter to catch a carp to save his mother. When such filial behavior is known, the state built this Baekwon moon in 904 to honor his filial piety and prized is a filial act. Everyone, do you hear cows cry and the sound of heavy rocks rotating? Wait a minute. The name of a yellow cow besides the millstone is 복순이. What a pleasant name, right? The name 복순이 was proudly chosen as number 1 through an SNS name contest. And 복순이 is the best worker that fulfills its share when plowing a field in the folk village. A millstone grinded and pulverized grain is too big, so it was worked a cow or horse. Moreover, it's too heavy that it was a village community property, while the cow was private property. They bring the cow at home, the cow walks and return home again. Today, we looked around the Korean folk village, totem pole, Beautiful Sun's monument, and the millstone. How about you? Are you happy? Me too. Have a good time and thank you. Goodbye. Hi. What did I say? Welcome to Korean folk village. Today, I will show you pottery shop. Here we go. That is a pottery shop. Here we are. Excuse me, how long have you been in Korea? And have you ever tried kimchi? How was it? Yes, you're right. It's very spicy. But you may get hooked on it. Now, I can't without kimchi. I love kimchi. But when I was young, I didn't like kimchi because it was very spicy. So I washed it in the water and ate it. However, my mom said to me, kimchi contains digestive enzyme and vitamin C a lot, as well as it prevents stomach cancer and blood flow because of garlic. So it's good for health. Try. Now I'm a mom and I have 2 children. I say to them, kimchi is spicy, but it has a strong immunity. Try. Like my mom. Welcome to Pottery Shop. A breathing bowl, a live ball of life. Yes. Anyway, Korea has developed an advanced ceramic culture. This is pottery. It's a breathing bowl. The air hole was made of sand. Microscopic holes on the inner wall of the pottery bowl. They prevent stored food from going bad. So, we preserve the kimchi, soybean sauce, red hot paste and grain. In fact, Korean well-being foods are almost all fermented foods, and according to US FDA, it's recognized as an excellent container. This is pottery pans. And pottery contains minerals. These minerals help improve taste and keep the food fresh for a long time. So, the water is fresh and tastes good. Our ancestors reflected their culture and spirits into the pottery by using it as bowls to contain food and as tools for music, ceremony, and ancestor rites. This pottery shop displays pottery bowls, which were actually used, with an interesting explanation of how pottery was used historically. Pottery, the main ingredient for making ceramic clay, and baking it at 1200 degrees Celsius for 10 days. Ceramics, the art of clay. That's the first material made by man. There are main floor and ladies' room. Here is a kitchen. Look closely. Do you know what it is? In Korean, 소주거리, bowl for distilling soju. Do you like soju? I don't like it. Pottery is eco-friendly material. Finally, it returns to the nature again, as well as it prevents land pollution. It's good. Let's get outside. We are off to Pottery Experience Center. Here we go. It should be a good time. The Pottery Experience Room has a space for you to use clay to make pottery. Shall we check out the charm of pottery, which has wisdom of our ancestors, in the Pottery Experience Center? Here we are. Shall I make my own pottery work? Okay, that sounds good. After a while, let's go down. Wow! Breathing bowl pottery. It's time to say goodbye. Did you have a good time? Yes, I'm happy to guide you. See you next. Thank you. Hi. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Korean Folk Village. What a nice day. Joseon Dynasty was established in 1392 and destroyed in 1910. How was the social structure of Joseon? There was an identity class society. It was a rigid hierarchy society: nobles, intermediate class, commoners, servants. And Korean Peninsula runs from north to south, so the type of houses are determined by social, culture, as well as natural environment, and divided into southern part, central part, northern part, and island. Today, I will show you a commoner's house in the southern part in Korean Folk Village. Here we go. Look, that's grain pole. This is customary New Year's way of praying for abundant harvest. In the old days, when the first full moon appeared, people stood along the pine tree next to their gate. It symbolized stakes of grain as high as the pole. They wished for fertility, abundance, and their farming to go well that year. In Korean, 볕가리대 is kind of a house god. Here we are. This house came from Jangseong in Jeolla province. Look at this house gate. When you enter the gate of the house, you should push the gate to open. It means coming of good fortune together in the house. It's Korean style. Let's get in. This house follows a typical form of the southern part. We call it a choga집, thatched house. It's one of the traditional Korean houses. Generally, it's roof of the made of hay. They lived 3 generations. Maybe they lived happily together. Do you think so? The houses are all in the straight line and run parallel to each other because the weather is hot and humid. When we open the backside door, breezes ventilated the house. Hey, listen. The Korean traditional houses are characterized by having both ondol and wooden floor. Wooden floor originated from south and ondol from the north merged with each other. Then they became essential components of Korean traditional houses. Ondol is a traditional underflooring heating system. Ondol system consists of 3 steps: fireplace, 구들고래, and chimney. Ondol was very scientific and good for health, you know. Wooden floors were laid to connect the rooms and keep the fresh atmosphere. In sultry summer, sometimes they took a nap here. So nice! Please look around. Here is a guest room. Do you know what it is? Wow! 복순이's house? Yes! Where are you? This room is for the eldest son. Look, that is door stopper. It stops noisy bird and protect the yellow mold. Now, we are going to grandparents' room. Go ahead. How beautiful! Behind the house was a vegetable patch. Some houses, most belonging to better off families, had flower bed as well. In Korean, 풍접초. It's beautiful, isn't it? Oh, what's this? Yeah, in Korean, 내외담 or 내외벽 is made for privacy. It means no peeping inside was permitted. Next, I will go to backyard. Wow, look at the sky. The color reminds me of Vincent van Gogh. You know Vincent. I have just some flowers in my house. We don't have an air conditioner. So cool. Shall we go outside? Today, we looked around the commoner's house. Did you have a good time? Yes, I'm happy to guide you. See you next. Goodbye. Thank you. Hi. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Korean Folk Village. What a nice day. Look at that. That is 조작방아. It is used to make the grain into powder. Please help me. You put your left foot, I put my right foot on the pedal. We need cooperation and get into the rhythm. Let's get started. Today, I'm going to northern part, commoner's house. Look, that is pumpkin. This scenery is what Korea looks like, you know? I'm having pumpkin eat this evening. Private house in the northern part were the best to prevent the cold in winter. They had low eaves, rooms were closely attached together, and windows were very small or did not exist at all. However, the kitchen and the rooms were spacious for people to live indoors in the cold winter. Look at the roof. Roofs contain our ancestors' wisdom as well, and were very rough compared to the roofs of the house in the southern part house. The shape of a fishy scale. Next, where to go? Wow, look at the ash tree. The Korean style house is built with a nature-friendly material, such as wood, soil, stone, and paper. So it's possible recycling. Excuse me, I have a question. What did the Koreans do with the ashes left in the fire hole? You know? Good job! It was used to wash it or get rid of a smell, put grades on the pottery, and as a natural fertilizer. Finally, it returns to the nature again. Ashes material is sodium hydroxide, sodium bicarbonate. That material is very strong athletic. So Hanok is a nature-friendly house and prevent land pollution and global warming. Yeah, I am a Korean. And you can see many kinds of walls in the Korean folk village. Wow, I feel comfortable. Oh, the pottery is very big. Yellow mud walls help to insulate the home. It's cool in summertime and warm in the wintertime. The soil was fertile and full of vitality. It's good for health. Here is Korean style kitchen. There is a fireplace. Korean style carpet. And you don't know why our ancestors planted red flowers in the backyard. Sometimes we dye our fingernails naturally. Above all, it keeps you from bad things. Hey, look at the persimmon tree. Persimmons can be eaten in autumn. That is a plum tree. It's very sour. Shall we go outside? Today, we looked around the Korean folk village, northern part house. Did you have a good time? Thank you. See you next. Goodbye. Hi. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Korean Folk Village. How have you been? We are going to Noble House. Here we go. It's very cozy and beautiful. Look at the chimney. It's made of bricks. Wow, it's wonderful. Here we are. Now, we are standing in front of a noble house. Look at the higher gate. Like the name higher gate that stands high, the gate is very high. This was for palanquins that nobles of Joseon Dynasty rode to pass through well and became the symbol of the noble house later. When you enter the gate, there is a room in the side where servants stay, and from left there are drawing ring, inner ring, and storage ring. Drawing ring is a space where the master mainly lived, read books, received the guests, and taught his son. Also, he could see the entire house when he stood on the upper floor, and so he could rule over his servants. The building of a drawing wing had an L shape and was connected to the inner wing. Inner wing is where a mistress stayed. Look at the bamboo pillow. It was prepared for the husband. In sultry summer, when he sleeps, holding bamboo is very cool, so we called bamboo wife. The shrine was normally located in the east of the family compound. We are filial, my ancestor, we are blessed. Shrine is a very important space in Joseon Dynasty because of Confucianism. Look at the window. Sometimes the scenery makes my heart flutter. It's beautiful. I have a 사랑방 joke. One day, Dad and son talked at the dark night, just moonlight. The son was very serious. Son said, "Dad, can you write in the dark?" Dad said, "I think so. What do you want me to write?" Sunset. Yeah, your name on this report card. Oh, it's not Korean style. Isn't that funny? When I was young, in winter, kimchi preserved like that, it was very delicious. It's fresh. This is outdoor kitchen. In sultry summer, we used to like that. The inner wing is the space for woman and the female owner. You know, inner annex. Joseon Dynasty had polygamy. The female owner stayed in the inner wing and the other wives stayed in the inner annex. There is a garden with a huge tree standing in front yard of the inner wing, and it was to prevent the inner wing to be seen from outside from the drawing room, where they received guests in Joseon Dynasty that divided the woman and man. Housekeeping equipment was put in the inner wing for the female owner to be in charge of housekeeping work. Also, unmarried daughter lived in the inner wing and learned the virtue as a lady of house from their mother. Interestingly, inside this house is a well. A well was usually in the center of the town for townspeople to share in Joseon Dynasty, but a well was dug inside the house of a rich yangban for the family to use. Look at the wind chime. There's wind chime hanging under the eaves. When it's breezing, the cozy sound of a wind bell makes our mind comfortable. Today, we looked around the noble house. Did you have a good time? Yes, I'm happy to guide you. Shall we go outside? See you next. Goodbye. Hi, welcome to Korean Folk Village. What a nice day. Today, I will go to Wanhyanglu, which is Korean garden. It's very beautiful. Here we go. Look at that! It's Wanhyanglu. Wanhyanglu has the meaning of playing with the sand. Lu means pavilion. Korean gardens are simpler and less refined and attempt to recreate the natural landscape with the hills. The natural space is emphasized. They usually small in scale, but strive towards an ideal harmony of nature and man. When Koreans plan the garden, they design it on a large scale, even considering the mountains and the rice field and as elements of the garden. This is called the way of appropriating the landscape. Alike, the Korean architecture is originative and nature in the role. It's not artificial. The pavilion served as a gathering place for men, and it was designed to symbolize the heavenly realm of the sages. They thought themselves as God-fearing, pronounced Taoism. Hey, look at the ceiling. It's a beautiful color we call in Korean 단청. 단청 is protecting the wood from the insect and means dignity and authority. Especially, double leaves is colorful and beautiful, isn't it? The Koreans are used to 5 colors: red, blue, orange, black, white, symbolized 5 cardinal directions. We call it 오방색. They painted at the palace, Buddhist temple, and shrine. It has had a huge effect on Korean customs, lifestyle, religion, art, music, medicine. If you want to know about Korean culture, first, you need to understand about yin and yang and the 5 elementary theory. You know? Let's down step. Look at the sky. Look at the pine tree. How beautiful they are. Here you can see a pond. Look at the shape carefully. The pond is square and there is an island in the pond. Do you know why we made ponds like this? It's because we believed in the theory of 전원지방, which means sky is round and the earth is square. It means harmony of nature and balance. Shall we go outside? Today, we looked around Wanhyanglu. Korean gardens are very beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, today I'm happy to guide you. Enjoy your day. See you next. Goodbye. Hi. Hello, nice to meet you. Welcome to Korean Fuko Village. Today, I will show you what a wheel meal. This is the Fledstone Bridge. You will be crossing the stone bridge of a Jigok stream that crossing the Korean folk village. The stone bridge was made by installing a pier This bridge was seen often during the Joseon Dynasty, and this place is a famous photo zone where nice pictures come out. How about leaving a beautiful memory in the Korean folk village by taking a picture on top of this stone bridge? Wow, it's wonderful. Where is waterwheel mill? Hey, what are you looking for? Here, I found it. When the wheel moves by the power of the water that falls down from the top, the pestle moves from the top, the pestle moves to pound the grains. The water wheel was a farming tool that was used during the Joseon Dynasty, which was a farming society. When the wheel turns, the pestle automatically moves so people don't have to put energy and time to mill the grains. There were one of two water wheels in the most of the village, and the village people used the water wheel together. However, during harvest time for the big water wheel with a big size like this place, there was a person who stayed in a small room and lived next to the water wheel to manage the water wheel. Joseon Dynasty, a period when men and women were classified, The water wheel was a good place to have a date, where a man and a woman meet in secrets while avoiding people's eyes. Wow! I said hidden place in Korean version. Do you remember? The water wheel was a thankful tool that helped mill the grains easily, but it was also a place for young men and women to have a date. This place definitely holds the joys and the sorrows of the Joseon Dynasty people's lives. Now, how about taking a look around the water wheel while listening to the sound of the stream of the water? That sounds good. Wait a minute, do you hear this sound? Wow, watermill without fuel. In Korean, 통방아. This watermill grains the cereals with a pestle that is lifted by the weight of water in the bucket and comes down when the water is poured out. Look, that is rice straw. The rice straw is very good material. It's relatively long-lasting, clean, good insulator, and waterproof. But it's highly vulnerable to fire. The pace of a pestle may be different depending on the amount of water, but usually it is very slow, so that one has only to replace the cereals every 4 or 5 hours. Waiting. Aesthetics. Slow, I know, but let's take advantage of nature. Let's protect our planet. How about you? Today, we looked around the waterwheel mill. Did you have a good time? Yes, I'm happy to guide you. Thank you. See you next. Goodbye. Hi, how are you? Welcome to Korean Folk Village. It's scorching day, but I'm looking for Korean traditional tea. So, I'm off to Korean Herb Pharmacy in Korean Folk Village. You should have a good time. Here we go. Do you feel the sweet and the bittersweet smell? Yes, this place is the Korean Herb Pharmacy. The Korean Herb Pharmacy of Joseon Dynasty is composed of a doctor's office, medicine room, medicine storage room, and some other rooms. Near the Korean Herb Pharmacy, the place is composed of herbal medicines, such as omija, milk batch root, melonwort, yam, Siberian ginseng, and the raspberry wine. Just like we go to the hospital today, people went to the Korean Herb Pharmacy during the Joseon Dynasty. At first, the Chinese medical book was referred to when treating the patients, but the royal physician from mid-Joseon period, whom you all probably know very well, right? Yes, he is Hojun, as the medical book Donghibogam, Principles and the Practice of Eastern Medicine, written by Hojun, became widely used. Medicine was made and treatment was given according to the symptom of the disease, while acupuncture and Maxibustion was developed. Take a look at what kind of medical tools were used in Joseon Dynasty, Korean Herb Pharmacy, and also take a look at how treatment was made to patients. This house is a farmer's house in the southern part. For farmer's house in the southern part, it is natural to think of the linear type with the 바깥에 and the inner wing so that the wind can be well ventilated during the hot summer. The inner wing of this house is made in L form and 대청, which means the main floor of the room is behind the inner wing. Learn wood crafts from craftsmen in this house, 장승 and 소대, which play the role of a guardian and also the milestone of a Joseon Dynasty village, and lovebird, a symbol of love and conjugal harmony between the married couple, can be carved, matched, and colored. How do you like to be a craftsman during the Joseon Dynasty and make your own work? I have a Korean herb pharmacy joke. Patient said, "Doctor, I have a serious memory problem. I can't remember anything." Doctor said, "So, since when?" Patient said, "What problem? Did you have this problem?" It's a very funny story. Today, we looked around the Korean Herb Pharmacy. Did you have a good time? Yes, I'm happy to guide you. See you next. Goodbye.